Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with part 3 of my quirky idea for a network for dyslexic biz. Please comment any thoughts you have on this video, or any points I have, any constructive criticism or any encouragement or anything you want to comment. All views accepted, of course. And as I often say, especially if you're dyslexic, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section, or read any comments that you write. If it inspires you, like hearing about dyslexic success stories like billionaires even, or anything like what your specific goals are as a dyslexic person or whatnot. But yeah, as I say, any comments are more than welcome, including constructive criticism, because that's how well I will improve as much as possible. I know some people say, like, sometimes say, for instance, the lighting of my videos or my sound is not that great, but I use the equipment that I'm really at the moment used to or comfortable with, like my laptop, and just go live on those on the laptop's camera. So anyway, hope you enjoy this video, and please check out parts 1 and 2 if you haven't already done so. And again, I would love to hear from you about any thoughts you have, like whether I'm being silly or naive, or whether my video, even if you think it's cringeworthy or anything like that, heaven forbid, or anything you want to, even if obviously positive encouragement would be great, or as I say, constructive criticism will teach me how to improve, I'm sure, and I'll promise always do the best I can to improve my videos as much as I can, and try and entertain my audience as much as I can. But yeah, and suggestions always welcome. Anyway, cracking on. Number 21, reviewing some ideas. Part 1, unfortunately, my dog started barking crazily, and then there was my brother and his friend at the door, and I got a bit nervous because I didn't want to, like, for them to talk to me while I'm in the middle of the video or whatever. I know sometimes my brother's been really rude in some of my videos, like the intro to my videos. So unfortunately, I cancelled it. Well, sort of not cancelled, but I exited the video or whatever you call it. I said I'm out before I was ready, so I didn't cover parts 8, 9 and 10, but I did try and type them up. Well, I did type them up and write them in the comment section from 1 to 10. But yeah, so this is an idea I'm passionate about, but again, I think it'd be positive for people with dyslexia to hear about successful dyslexics and wealthy dyslexics included, obviously, depending on how you define success. I know most of society defines success on how much, or certainly a lot of society, on how much you earn, but I suppose different people might have different definitions of success. I'll say financially successful in this case, or successful in their chosen field. And obviously, by becoming a billionaire, I do suppose you change the world in many ways. But yeah, this is an idea I'm quite passionate about, being slightly dyslexic, and I think it's a positive one, although again, I'd love to hear people who have alternative views as well. But yeah, I think it would be great for families of dyslexia as well to see what their family members or relatives can achieve as well. Obviously, oftentimes it's genetic as well, dyslexia. I think that's the main contributor to dyslexia. I think sometimes it can be acquired, but a lot of times it is genetic, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, but yeah, maybe I'd also love to, on that note, to network with people like Made by Dyslexia, the Dyslexic Advantage, Understood, and other organisations which work with dyslexia or people with learning disabilities. Number 9 was like I also talked about, like 5-10 year plans and priorities and things like that. That's what I was probably going to talk about, but yeah, what the billionaires themselves, what their priorities would be, and also possibly dyslexic people generally, what their priorities would be, or plans, or 5-10 year plans, what you'd like to see, and that sort of thing. And also, I would love to talk, number 10, I would love to talk about supporting young dyslexics. They are the future, I suppose, or a large part of the future of the dyslexic community. But yeah, also I talked in some of my videos about things like empties, buying the empties, what I call empties. By empties, I personally mean businesses, premises, shops, stores, and that sort of thing, which are not being used, which are derelict or unused or whatever, and trying to make use of those things. So yeah, that's some of my older ideas, and I'd love to remember some of my older ideas in the future. Again, maybe in future videos I'll remember some old ideas I had. Number 22, on that note, I'd also love to think of new ideas and take in suggestions for new ideas, and I think it'd be amazing to see this network being formed and what it could achieve, and things that hopefully it will exceed all our expectations, even including my own and Dyslexic Billionaires themselves and others. shareholders, investors, and all sorts of people, or everyone's expectations, perhaps. Number 23, once again, as I mentioned before, I would love to, for the team, group, or network, or cooperative, or whatever you want to call it, I often like to call it group for some reason, but yeah, I would love for the group to support the 10% poorest people in all possible countries, disabled people, disadvantaged people, homeless people, and whatever groups need help, like physically, mentally, and learn disabled people, and that sort of thing. Yeah, basically just make the world a better place, work on peace, prosperity, peace, and helping countries in developing countries, helping people, in developing countries, and that sort of thing. Yeah, just basically helping the less fortunate and the more disadvantaged, generally speaking, God winning, Godspeed. 24, I would love to operate internationally. I'm not sure how. A lot of dyslexic billionaires may well be patriotic, or the shareholders or the investors, but I would love it for it to be an international group. Me, myself, I'm an anti-imperialist, so I love to support, as you probably noticed by now if you watched my other videos, I love to support what I call the six, but people from colonized countries like Asia, parts of Asia and Africa, as well as Ireland. So I hope to put forward my own views, but again, each member will probably have an equal vote. I suppose the people with more wealth or more ideas or more to put into the company would have more of a say, or the people who take more action even, especially perhaps. But yeah, those who invest the most time, effort, energy, and of course money will perhaps have the most say. So it might not be one person, one vote, but I'll put forward my own ideas, and that's what I suppose these videos are about. And maybe in the future, dyslexic billionaires could talk about what their views are, and what countries they would love to invest in. And in the past, I thought, for instance, when I was thinking the idea, it was purely a business idea, and I wasn't thinking that much about the philanthropy, although it was kind of a part of it. But I was thinking like the dyslexic billionaires, if they went into like I was thinking at the time, I'm not sure if they still are, but France and Germany, I think, are the top, or were the top at least, European countries. I know France and probably Germany have gone through a bit of a hard time recently, as probably pretty much every country has. But I'm not sure if they are the top two, but I think they are the top two European economies. And I was thinking, like, if the dyslexic billionaires went into those countries and said, if you offer us favourable rates of tax and other such financial incentives, access to markets, ease of doing business, deregulation and things like that, we will invest a few billion at least into or at least 1 or 2 billion into your country, possibly more than that. And so, yeah, hopefully get the best deals. And I think buying power or spending power could be a huge pull, and also it could help, basically to help work with other potential investors, shareholders, even politicians and governments. But it could, again, different countries could say, we'll give you this incentive to invest. So I'm not sure if those countries might even approach us after a while, but maybe first of all we could say, we have this much money to invest, and this is what we could do to transform the country if you give us the best favourable rates. But again, I would love to invest more in developing countries, but I was thinking, imagine if France and Germany, or countries like South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, and places like that, China and India, Japan, and places like that could say, if you invest in our country, we'll give you this amount, this sort of incentive to invest, basically, to give us incentives to invest into their countries. So again, me personally, I would love to invest more in Asia and Africa and Ireland, and basically former colonies that worked for their independence, and what I call the six and things like that. And most likely, if I did make any money, that would be what I would. Well, that would definitely be. Those would be the main countries or places I would invest in, and that sort of thing. Anyway, moving on. Number 25. Again, putting forward my own views. I would love to invest in republics and support republics as much as possible from a buyer's point of view. Again, doesn't mean it will happen, because should the network ever come to fruition, come to reality and start up, it'll be up to the members as well, and possibly shareholders and that sort of thing, equity holders, investors and whatnot, basically, as well. Number 26, again, me personally, I would love to invest in colonized countries, former colonies, especially India, but also like Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Singapore, the rest of Asia and Africa and Ireland, and again what I call the six and that sort of thing. Number 27. Yeah, hopefully, as I say, countries will want us to invest in their country because we'll have a lot of money to invest. Also, hopefully, we'll be able to buy things in bulk and sell them cheaper and outbuy or outbid other companies. And as I talked about my imagination in part 2, and point number 17, I would love for companies like Charles Schwab, who's a dyslexic billionaire. His company, I think, has hundreds of billions, if not trillions, I think, even in assets. I think they call it AUM, assets under management. I wonder if he would be able to invest that in other people's money generally. If they know, obviously, there's a very good chance. I don't think we should guarantee things. Obviously, that's a bit too risky, and investments could go up and down. I think that's what I haven't really taken into account fully. But I'm sure we'd lose money as well as gain money at times. But if you could invest and risk some of that money, or as much of it as possible, especially if there's quite a lot of businesses, and we say together that we can invest in these things and almost guarantee that we'll get we'll make money on it. I know you've got to be a bit careful about guaranteeing, but certainly there's a good chance that we'll make money. And maybe look at the legal team as well. And another thing is to bring the best legal and accountancy teams and things like that. Of course, I'm sure most businesses will want such things, especially big businesses. Number 28, again, in part 2, I discussed, I said, first of all, I was thinking to myself, I did say that a lot of companies overinvest, or a lot of business people overestimate what they can make, or I can't think of the word, but they overestimate their brand value or their marketing value or abilities or whatever. And I suppose I was guilty of doing the same thing. Imagine, but I suppose I was using my imagination and dreams and saying I would love. I'm not saying it will happen, of course, but I would love to. If the company could invest and make even like trillions of pounds or at least dollars, because obviously buying things in bulk and hopefully we'll make money on what we buy and invest in so many different areas. Number 29, it'll be interesting in the future. I imagine most dyslexic billionaires, if not all, are probably white male. So I think it'd be interesting in the future if there could be more women and people of color. But as the team sort of expands and maybe invests in others, maybe there could be more dyslexic billionaires in from parts of Africa, Ireland, Asia, and places like that, what I call the six generally, and that sort of thing. Again, we could invest in those sorts of groups and communities. But yeah, so there's something I'm sure I was going to say, but I always lose my train of thought. But yeah, maybe I did get carried away, but as I say, I was using my imagination. I wasn't saying that's what we could make, but I would love to see what areas we could go into, like superstores, investing in all sorts of things in the future, a lot in like technology. I think artificial intelligence is going to be a big area. Apparently Bill Gates said artificial intelligence is a company he would invest in now, to be where he managed to get to. I think it'd be interesting to find out what billionaires are actually dyslexic. I know Richard Branson says he's dyslexic, Charles Schwab, Ted Turner, I think, who founded CNN, and a few others. John Chambers, I'm not sure if he's a billionaire, but yeah, unfortunately, the late Ingvar Kamprad is no longer with us, but he was said to be dyslexic. Steve Jobs and people like that. So, but maybe their former companies, even like IKEA and companies like that, could invest in dyslexics and invest in this company, or be part of it, or whatever. Maybe even companies owned by dyslexic billionaires, or even former dyslexic billionaires, or unfortunately now deceased. But also, yeah, I think basically to invest as much money as possible, buy things in bulk and things like that. And around my train of thought. But yeah, there was even a rumor that Bill Gates is dyslexic, but I'm not sure if that's true as well. So I do want to look at the ones that are actually dyslexic, because I take things literally, or to be exact. But yeah, it'd be interesting to find how many dyslexic billionaires there are, and maybe some who haven't come out, so to speak, as some people describe it, as Matt Hancock, as they described it. But yeah, it'd be great to see if there are other dyslexic billionaires who will say, yeah, it's actually now great thing to be a dyslexic, because we can be part of this network. Anyway, I am out. Peace and love.